I'm Cassie Misch with JGL. I am the licensing executive and brokerage manager. I think that anytime you're involved in something, the more that you become involved in it and the more that you learn about it, the more you love it. One of the things that I enjoy most about my position in the licensing business is that we work with independent seed companies, and I get to see lots of different aspects of everyone's business, and that's a neat viewpoint that most people don't get to see. I do think the seed industry is doing a pretty good job at recruiting young people into the seed industry. There are programs in place such as the Future Seed Executives Campus Connections program, where we bring undergraduate students to the American Seed Trade Annual Convention so that they can learn different aspects of the seed industry, and they spend time with someone who's in the industry. So at that point they're already making contacts. There's other programs. The American Seed Research Foundation is doing a similar thing with grad students. A lot of companies in the seed industry offer internships, and so I do think that there's a pretty good effort to get students into the seed industry. I certainly think there will be more competition to get students to join the seed industry. But I don't think that there's a lack of interest there. It may just be reaching out to students who don't have a traditional farm background. I certainly think there are still always students who are interested in business and science. I think if you really want to get more students involved, you need to educate them more at a college level on what types of careers there are in the seed industry. I know from my own personal experience in college, when I took some classes, I really felt like the options for being in the seed industry were either going into retail seed sales or fertilizer, being a chemical dealer, and I don't feel like many students really understand a lot of the different jobs in the seed industry. So I think that would be the one area that could be worked on the most. There are a couple of things that I think would be best to mentor the future generation of leaders in the seed industry. One of those things, I think it would be neat to see more done on the college level, and from that aspect I mean a lot of that curriculum is very good, but some of that curriculum doesn't change very much and has been taught for many years. I think it would be neat to do some more education with high school or college students, some type of class or session on current issues in the seed industry, or things other than just the traditional things that have been taught in schools. I think as far as young professionals who are already in the seed industry, speaking from my own experience, some of the things that have helped me grow the most in the past few years, I think it's very important to give a young professional space, encourage them on what you want them to do, but also give them that space to do those things and figure them out on their own. I think as time goes on, the longer that someone is in your company, it's very important to give them a little bit more responsibilities in different aspects of your business. I think it's very important to train them in all aspects of your business as time goes on. I think really probably the number one key to mentoring the next generation of seed industry leaders is loyalty. I think the more loyal that they are to you or to the industry, the more passionate they are, and that loyalty is built through exposing them to different aspects of the business. In order for the industry to position itself for the future, I think a couple of things need to happen. First of all, I think when it comes to the public, there's a big disconnect between what the general public, I think, does care about this feeding the world issue in the way that they know how to care about it, but many of them are also afraid of traits in technology, which are how we believe that's going to happen. So I think there's a big disconnect between the science and the traits, and how that's actually going to happen in the public eye. So that issue definitely needs to be addressed. I also think the industry really needs to identify who those future leaders are going to be now, especially as there are more and more regulations and continued issues in the seed industry, and they're happening very fast and very quickly. The people that are going to lead the industry in the next 10, 20, 30 years, you want those to be the people who are most familiar with the seed industry and care about it the most. So I think those people need to be identified now. If I think about what a brand is, I'm looking at something that is recognizable, has an impact on a larger group of people. When I think about companies like Walmart, McDonald's, Facebook, Apple, brands that have been hugely successful, those have been brands that have really hit people's emotions or personality in one way or another. So they've either focused on the economics, the pocketbook, or being part of an elite group, being part of a sense of a big community in general. So I think if you're going to brand the industry, you really have to address the question of why should the general public care and how does it benefit them? And I believe the answer to that is really to get the public to understand where their food comes from. If we're talking about a brand and hitting their own emotions and why they should care, because this is how you're going to eat and survive, and this is how we're going to provide for people. JGL is a wheat and soybean genetics licensing company. And when I first came into the position, I really didn't know anything at all about the licensing industry within the seed business. And it's certainly a big part of the seed industry. So that for me has been very interesting to see how that works, an aspect of the business that people outside, even other people in agriculture, don't really understand what that business is about. So that's been a lot of great learning for me. I really like working with lots of independent seed companies, learning different aspects of their business and what they think some of the issues are and some of the things that they care about and things that they're hearing and seeing and learning from their customers. I get to see that from a large gamut of people, and I really enjoy that. I've also, at JGL, been blessed to learn different aspects of the business as I've progressed throughout these last 4 years. Now, I've been involved in understanding a little bit more about how a business is run, how to set up a seed testing trial, how to evaluate yield data, how to look at new varieties to advance and put out there in the marketplace. Well, I certainly don't know what I'll be doing in the future, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. But I do know that I am where I am looking back for a very specific purpose. I have always tried to do my absolute best at whatever I've done and get involved in a lot of different things, which I've had a wonderful opportunity to do within the seed industry so far. I know that whatever I do, I will be putting my whole heart into it. And of course, with my schooling and the things that I've now learned and am continuing to learn, I certainly plan to stay within the agriculture industry. JGL and Greenleaf Genetics are both very committed to the success of the independent seed companies, and this just provides them more access to germplasm, different genetics, and options.